main ingredient that makes the Raki work is this. Micro balls, nanoballs, silicon quartz, crystal, clear, natural. This is the compound that stores the light isotopes that last 15,000 years linear timeline. And when they discharge, it happens that day after 15,000 years, and you recharge them, and again 15,000 years before the light isotopes fold. This is what makes the key work. This is the magic. How people ask themselves, do we get the light in here? It's not just you put it in the sun. No, you want to amplify the photonic energy that hits this. So, for those that are in the knowledge, in ancient times, we were a group of priests that came together, or call it cosmic architects, that built certain type of machinery that could do that. Since this is pyramid technology, I'll explain to you how this works. What we used to do in ancient times was set up a room with certain geometric aspects around that room, which was a tremendous effort. 1,000,000 tons of rock, because it had to be shielded. Not only shielded, but we needed to get the light to hit here, hit from the other side, and from here, 4 angles. That had to be done in a manner that the angles were aligned to the certain star systems, and the number codes were kept. Geometry and number codes within the pyramid, I can get into that, are very complex, and only to those that are in the knowledge will they be revealed. So if you have that setup, it's like a tumor. It's like, this is your knob, this is the notch, this is the planetary system, and you turn your knob to a certain degree until it matches that system. So this is a knob with a lot of connections to a lot of star systems. Back then, when everything was aligned, which it isn't today, and Earth had a different axis, it was working. Right now, it's like it's being dismantled. The pyramidion, the top stones, most likely gone, withered, or like the capstone, it's gone. Very important. It needs to be in place. You see this symbol with the eye everywhere. This is what connects everything. It's like the tip of the sword is the one that cuts, not the sword. So then you have these energies that come in here that are important to us. And this is where the person basically would lie within the chamber. You had to be trained. Your synapses had to have the capacity to catch that light, because as soon as you're in that chamber and you've been hit with negatively charged ions, which are very important for fresh air and connection to the universe. Let's say in an average room in a city, you have 200 negative ions per cubic square. Okay. Um, by the sea, you have probably 2,000. A waterfall can have up to 100,000 negative. I'm not counting the positively charged ions because our focus is negatively charged ions. And it is, to our knowledge, it is not tachyon energy. It is ionic and photonic energy. To put this real short, would be tested if you have a, let's say, a geopathic zone where lines meet. So I'm gonna put it this way. Let's say you have an intersection and you have, let's say, on a road, it's a certain zone where geopathic lines, ley lines meet and they cross, and you have a field of distortion. You have, cracks in a road, potholes, whatever you want to call them. Stuff is unstable there because we have interference there. We found that if you put tachyon devices in the ground, it bends that aspect, puts it further down the road, meaning the geopathic zones are basically, how can I put it? They just move. Basically, it's bend, to here and here. It's not dissolved, meaning like you could not get rid of the problem. So meaning tachyon energy is not the ultimate energy that's healing you, because tachyon energy only it displaces it. So if you have a so-called tachyon device, you're not healing. You're just moving that aspect that needs to be healed outside of your vessel. That's where we do not operate. Just to make that clear, very important. What we're dealing with here is, and you can Google that yourself, find out for yourself, do your own comparison and investigate. It's ions and photons. This is what this is about. And negatively charged, very important. That's for fresh air. That's for stabilizing, the healing aspect of that light fraction that hits your system. So the priest or shaman or druid or sorcerer as in drawing energy from the source, sorcerer, conjurer, enchanter, the one who can talk to the elements, would lay here, head facing north, and get in trance and meditate. Could be for days, could be for weeks. At a certain light degree, you don't need food or water because you have enough energy that's hitting your system that helps the brain to produce anything the body needs while it's in there. Could even be that one could be in there for 1,000 years and then come back. So, the deal is that we now have developed a technology that can harness light, activate photons and ions, and increase the degree of light that can hit a chamber. So, our friend, which you will see later, whom you will see later in the video, he has, and I believe there's like maybe around the planet 144 scientists that working in the same field. Like, if you want pyramid secrets to be revealed, I suggest all you investigators like Eric von Däniken, his friend Giorgio, Mr. Wilcock, Greg Braden, all these names, they might like this. Because it's not in any books, it's what we receive and we bring it back. Like, if I haven't mentioned that before, we have returned to bring that back, and it does not come from books. Okay, again, that steel rod creates, check, ionic atmospheric changes, if that is in a room, depending on how big it is, giving off negatively charged ions that refreshen the air around you. Now, what you can do now, and again, it's very expensive and very hard to find people who can do this and to make it. You put this, since the universe works in a vacuum, and all this is channeled, and I'm talking about stuff that is tangible, not fancy metaphors to tell you how to better your life, stuff that actually works. And that's only one part of the gadgets that we will bring forth the next 2 years. Seemingly magically doing the job, but it's not magic, it's spiritual technology that can be applied now. You put this in a glass tube, okay? You seal the tube, attach a vent to the end, and make it a vacuum. And you get rid of the air. Mind you, if you have a shooter like this, which you will see in a photo in a minute, it's very, very powerful. You know, you cannot imagine. You touch it, your hair will, stand up. You create a vacuum. The energy that's being attracted shoots out where the ball is. That's where it accumulates, and the photonic acceleration goes out the front. But here's the deal: if you attach a light bulb, not switched on, you have photons coming out. If it's a steel ball, you have ions coming out. You want to work the system with ions and photons. I'll tell you in a minute why. So have these shooters aligned in a chamber, hooked up like this. Shooting out their rays, ionic and photonic. You have what you would call a pyramid chamber. If you have enough of these lined up, at a certain degree you can't even be the chamber because you can't take it. You get visions, you see all types of stuff, you get all types of downloads, you'll be in full contact. Above your house, the layers above your house will begin to open. You will begin to see a lot of science fiction stuff in the air once you do that. And other things in your environment will change, guaranteed. I've seen it, I've witnessed it. So here's the deal. You will have ionic, photonic emission. You seal this chamber. There are different materials that can be used. Let's go simple. In wood and reflective side up aluminum foil. You lock the door. You sit in that room. You charge. You begin to heal. You begin to get better. Your overall system is basically, that's all you need to heal. You can even attach a stainless steel pipe to it, hook that up to the same device, as in you can lay down in it. You know, you can fix an old how can I say, how I put it? You know, the solar panel beds where people get their suntan. You know, get an old system. You know, that's, you know, broken. It's what is $50 to $100, and put certain appliances in there, which I will not get into detail because it's another technical aspect of how to replicate that into this, and attach this here with a steel ball, so the rays that come out of the chamber will be transmitted here. You laying down in this type of machine, you will fall asleep, and you never want to leave. I tested that before. I was there for like 15 minutes. I was in a meditative state. It was amazing. Now, what's amazing to me is, and this is where I was really blown away, and like, I'm a believer and I can feel a lot of things for their content once told. But the people that are skeptics, we have tangible proof how this works. So my friend Heinz, what's his name? He put in a corner here cheese on the floor. You know, like on a plate, he put the cheese on the floor. Now, you know what happens to cheese if you put that on the floor and you let it sit there for, like, let's say 8 weeks? It'll smell like crazy. You have mildew all over the place. It'll rot. It'll attract all types of parasite, and you won't be a happy camper. I went in there, and he told me that the cheese has been there for that amount of time, 8 weeks, and you know, other people that were witnesses told me that this is true. His sons told me this is true. And he gives the dog the cheese to eat. The dog is swallowed up. The cheese did not rot. It mummified. It just became hard. It still smells good. It's just without water. That's all it is. So I was like, okay, this is what this thing does. Nothing can decay in that chamber. Nothing can rot. Everything begins to heal. Stuff that is unnatural withers away. Like if you have, let's say, plants that are genetically altered with all types of substances, they basically die. If you have natural plants coming from natural soil, natural dung, they grow, let's say, if the average growth rate is like this, within the chamber, it's like almost double. For all things, soybeans, carrots, you can put in just seeds and then plant them, and you have the effect because these plants store that. If you have, let's say, artificial paint that's placed near the chamber, and you know how paint is made in a bucket when you paint your room, it has natural compounds and then it has artificial compounds. What this does, it creates a field of coherence, meaning that anything that is not supposed to be a blend with something natural will basically it'll be put to order. So if you have a regular paint in that regards future production lines of products, when the new energy hits the planet, they are not sustainable, impossible. What happened to the paint was that the oil was upstairs, basically in a bucket, and this became like a lump, hard, white clay. You couldn't mix it, you couldn't use it, because the field began to structure itself to its original blueprint. This is what will happen if you're in that chamber. So how we charge our keys basically with this pyramidal energy is we place sacks of sand in there and let them sit in that chamber, and they store that light from that chamber. And that's basically how this works. I hope you had fun listening to what I gave you. This is a world premiere. Nobody knows this. This is being released now on all angles, universities all over the place. So people can get out there and explore, investigate ions and photons, what they do. You know, Tesla was the one who was dealing with photonic and electromagnetic energy, and Reich was the one who was dealing with organic energy. So we have in part organic energy, but it's overwhelmed by the activation of the light that comes through, plus we touch it. Our spiritual maturity and our DNA codes are interlinked with what we set free and put in gear, because before we came to this planet, we chose to be the ones to do that. And what is evident and speaks for us is that we are the master builders, and we will build that again. And that's only the beginning. We haven't talked about fuel injection pumps and how we can decrease the emission rate by 92%, fuel usage by up to 42%. In another video I will get into that. So now I'll show you a few pictures, and then the taping of the chamber, and I want you, without me suggesting anything, to really sit down and sit back and feel the energy coming from that video, which to my perception, it's very intense, because it has to do with quantum physics and a morphogenetic field, meaning whatever is stored as a light code message on video is the data is zeros and ones, and they store the same information code that's coming from the chamber. So as you watch the video, it'll heal you, it'll clear your room, and you feel it. Even when you press pause and you watch the screen, hold your hand in front of the screen. Yeah, what? Okay, introducing an original power that emanates the same energy that the pyramid inside the king's chamber is producing, photonic energy coming from the shooter that you have seen upstairs, which we'll get to later. Here's the guy that built the prototype, Heinz, our buddy, and he allowed us to film the chamber, and I'll show you the magical treats of the chamber as my partner who's holding the cam, Ray, is following me into the photonic chamber. Inside, you can see the room is shielded with foil that reflects and keeps the light inside of the station, so nothing escapes the room. Let's come to the shooter system, the ones that you've seen in glass. We have 6 shooters shooting the ionic.
3-4 munition and 3-4 lights.
Okay, 3 lights and 3 come again, 4
Eon.
ions.
For ion. Okay.
Ions, these are for ions, and this is for light. And then we have down here, tape this, the cheese, and that is what had me. It mummified. There's no mildew on it. It doesn't rot. It's been here probably for a few weeks, and it's smells good. It's completely in shape. It's baffling. Like I'm saying, the world is asleep. We got the magic right here. It's working. And this was an example of the photonic chamber.
Yeah.
Photonic ionic chamber.
Yeah.
And this is a prototype, not finished yet. Later on, color therapy can be applied and sounds, and the ionic input for the system enables the body to intake much more healing power, and everything is amplified. As I'm in this room, I feel like a cold shower in my back. My aura is kind of cold.
Yeah.
Energy is stacked up. My pineal gland is pumping. My cerebral is pumping. Like I'm really like up. It's like electric current running down my face. And even when I leave the room, it stays a while within my system before it dissipates. And working with these light technologies, you have to be light, because if you of a lesser light, you detox to a point that you have to run to the bathroom, puke, or you feel sick for a couple of days, or whatever flus, whatever you have will come out. And basically what we did back in the days building the pyramids, we put in a chamber creating the same energy that the pyramid is creating within this chamber, and I'd like to call it the King's Chamber. And this is the future. The future is here, and the business is in photonic, in Lakesh, and Namaste.